Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Giant Mess, the super sloppy sports entertainment talk show that covers Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, television, and a whole lot more. It's hosted by Giant Mess. It's me, the Real Cinch Neal Lynch. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about life, some more life coming at you. Date night with my daughter, a friend's party up north, visiting friends for the first time with the girlfriend. So the first time my girlfriend is meeting my friends, or a couple of my friends, and exploring all the ins and outs, trials and tribulations of a relationship, and how I don't know how to communicate. So without further ado, let's get it started up in here. So I wasn't able to fully get through life updates last episode because I just rambled. I'm a rambling man of sorrow. No, it's not it. Lord, I was born a rambling man. So now we're talking about President's Day weekend. No, we're not. We're past President's Day weekend. It was glorious. We're all aware of that. If you listen to the last episode, you know that there was a hot tub. There was a tiny cabin. There was shopping. There was cheese, stinky cheese. So now we're post President's Day weekend. My GF, my girl, informed me that her chin lost a layer of skin from my scruff. Now, interesting, because I asked her, hey, do you like beards? Do you like mustaches? Do you like a clean shaven face, smooth face? She goes, I like scruff. Feels like a complaint. And I know the scruff for sure, for Sheezy, got in the way of some things. So in terms of maybe the look, the scruff works for her, but in terms of any kind of physicality, any kind of intimate physical contact, maybe the scruff, not the greatest. So I'm going to keep this mug nice and smooth and soft, like a baby's ace. I went ahead, pulled the trigger, bought a Peloton, a refurbished Peloton, not the bike, but the bike plus. If you're a ton head, you're a pillow head. I don't even know what do they call Pelotoners? Toners? You know what I'm talking about. But the bike plus has like the swivel monitor. So if, I had the desire, the will, and the fortitude to possibly do something other than cycling, but another workout that they have, since they have other workouts, I could swivel it. I don't have to completely turn the bike to see what's going on. Of course, my daughter and I went to a friend's party up north, and I got to talking to this guy, and I was like, yeah, I just bought a Peloton. He's like, oh, you should have told me you were interested. I could have given you mine. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know. Fucking A. A little too late there, guy. It's like, how the hell did I know? I didn't know he had a Peloton. He never told me he had a Peloton. Why would I think that you have a Peloton to give me? You never talked about it. So I guess I can, it's not coming until next week, and I still have time to cancel the order, but it's sounding like, my buddy's wife was just like, no, don't do it. I swear I'll work out more. He claims that she's only worked out I think, what do you say, 10 times in the past 3.5 years? Not great. Not that I'm doing much better, but I think I've surpassed 50 rides. Maybe I got to be close to 50 at this point. Of course, I'm probably above 50 if you take into consideration all the rides I did on the office's gym bike, where I did not sign in to my own account because I forgot my friggin' password. Couldn't find it. So that's a good year worth of rides. So yeah, I'm probably at 50 or more, hopefully. So I'm kind of, I don't know if I'd say I would caught the bug, but when my lady, when I see her working out so goddamn hard every freaking day, she sends me her workouts, and it's just like, whew, I am slacking. So I've tried to pick up the pace a little bit on the Peloton front, and I figured, you know what, suck it up. They have payment plans. So it's like, it's a pretty hefty monthly payment. I was looking at they have one that's 48 months worth of payments for like $20 a month. And I was like, yeah. And then I looked at the interest rate and I'm like, oh. So I think there's 0% interest if I pay it off in a year. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll suck it up and swallow that. So any kind of ground I made up with my pay increase and bonus at work, it's just completely wiped out and then some in terms of any kind of buffer space I have bringing it in. And then of course, like this past weekend, I just went, oof. I went, eating out. Let me rephrase that. Dining out. It's a little, I don't remember it being this pricey. It feels like every time I go out to eat now, it's guaranteed over $100. Like what for two people? What's happening? So something's got to give, right? I was also looking at like interest rates, average interest rates, because I've had this fucking fantasy delusion that I'm going to buy a home. And I'm telling you right now, it just looks so bleak. It's just doom and gloom over here. And, I'm thinking, oh, interest rates are all-time high. They're not. They're right around 7%. And I Googled it today. I was like, historical interest rate, average interest rate over time, over the history of man, or something like that. And I guess in the 80s, early 80s, it was like 18%. You serious, Clark? Like what happened there? And then, of course, it was during the pandemic, 2020 and 2021, it was like below 3%, like 2.5%. And of course, we didn't buy at that time. We sold. So try not to think about that. Try not to ruminate, because I read a Harvard Business Review article on how to actually stop overthinking, because no one likes an overthinker, as evidenced by the follower count on this podcast. It's like maybe like saying I'm an overthinker isn't really selling the pod like I thought it would. I thought a little self-deprecation might help it out, but people like doers. They don't like thinkers. They want doers. So I got to start doing more doing, less thinking. That's why I just pulled the trigger on the Peloton. I was like, good, let's just do it, And then, yeah. So this article, Harvard Business Review, how to actually stop overthinking. It's like the first one bullet was like rumination. It's like you're constantly dwelling on the past mistakes, regrets, stuff like that. And I was just like, check. So trying to live in the here and now, and that kind of goes hand in hand with number 2, which was titled future tripping, which is not when you mix in a little bit of shrooms with acid, LSD, and pot, ecstasy, and codeine, and then fly to the moon and see yourself in 5 years and be like, oh no, it gets worse. It's just worrying about the future, essentially. There are things that, and I've said this before, but there are things that in the future or in the present that you can control. And I know I sound like a fucking modern day athlete whenever the media asks them a stupid question, which is about every question really. But, live in the here and now, take it day by day. Can't dwell on the past. Can't worry about the future. Got to control what we can control. Can't control what we can't control. So, yeah, those two, it's like kind of obvious, but just do it, dude. You have to do it, so do it. And then, last one, like stop over analyzing. So, I thought that was another selling point for me. And it turns out really not. People don't like overthinkers. They also don't like overanalyzers. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? So yeah, I think on my LinkedIn profile or my cover letter, I was just like, I really enjoyed deep dives and analytical thinking and critical thinking, and it turns out people don't like deep dives. Very few people like deep dives. So I was like, all right, maybe I should remove that from the old the proof. But it was like good enough when you've checked all the boxes and things are satisfactory. Learn how to step away and learn when it's good enough, when it hits that mark good enough in your head. Don't keep going, and that's something that I've suffered from. It's a nasty condition, fatal in some cases. So I'm trying, that's what I'm trying to do at this point, because this past week was a huge lesson in like how overthinking can just really almost kill a relationship, basically. I can't really get into details because I don't think that's right. But, you have a guy and a girl. Okay. Guy goes over to girl's house. Girl, to the guy, appears to be annoyed, upset, pissed off, irritated. Guy thinks it's his fault. Guy starts to question everything. Guy then kind of subconsciously takes a step back for the next 3 days, blames his withdrawal from communication with the girl on his shitty commute, which is a factor. It's a variable, hypothetically speaking. And then girl comes over for lunch. Guy's excited because he got a nice text from the girl. Guy and girl cook together, but there doesn't seem to be any real connection. There's an awkwardness to it. And then later that night, the girl sends a nice, lovely text message. And the guy says, what the fuck's going on here? Because what I experienced on this day and this day don't align up, with a in-person experience on those 2 days doesn't line up with the 2 texts that accompanied it afterwards. So what's going on? And so then guy sends the world's longest text message. Oh, brother. I think it's what brought down the Verizon network. The Verizon network went down while I was working from home, right during my one-on-one with my boss. So it's like any argument for working from home permanently or moving forward is just fuck you, Verizon. Yeah, so that was down. And the hoops that I had to jump through. Their website, useless. The app, useless. Their automated answering system, useless. I mean, like, to get to the layer of help that I need to get to is preposterous. And I don't understand how Verizon is still in business. But I guess it is, like, 90 whatever percent of the time the network is fine and they don't have a lot of outages, maybe. And I don't know why I stick with them, but I guess it's just like they're the best of the worst. You know what I mean? Like, no one's better, but that doesn't mean that they're good. That kind of thing. Anyway, I sent the world's the guy, hypothetically speaking, sent the world's longest text message, basically, which was spurned by the nice text message from the lady. And the guy, before reading that text message, went on ChatGPT and may or may not have asked ChatGPT relationship advice about how do you know when your partner is playing games in a relationship? Like, hey, artificial intelligence. Oh, brother. What is considered playing games in a relationship? Playing games in a relationship typically refers to behavior where one or both partners engage in manipulative or deceptive actions to gain power, control, or attention rather than being genuine and straightforward in their interactions. This can include things like intentionally withholding communication, giving mixed signals, using jealousy as a tactic, or testing the other person's feelings. Essentially, it's anything that undermines trust and genuine connection in the relationship. And on Thursday, before I got this the next text message, because I mean, hypothetically, this guy, after his hypothetical lunch with this hypothetical girl, had a full freak out for a good hour or two. Just like, what the fuck? What do I do? Do I talk to her now? This is the guy talking, the hypothetical guy. Do I talk to her now? Should I wait until I introduce her to my friends, in a couple of days? And if that goes poorly, do I speak up? asking asking cohorts, people that are close to him, here's the situation, what should I do? Um, you know, then turning to Chat GPT. So sad. Why would my girlfriend play games with me instead of breaking up with me? Fear of confrontation, insecurity, manipulation, emotional immaturity, dishonesty. How can I tell if my girlfriend is playing games with me? Inconsistency, manipulative behavior, avoidance of serious conversations, playing mind games, lack of accountability, secretiveness, emotional distance, unwillingness to compromise. And this hypothetical guy, okay, what should I, sorry, not done yet. What should I do if I think my girlfriend is playing games with me? Reflect on your feelings, communicate openly, set boundaries, observe her response, evaluate the relationship, seek support, consider your options. So yeah, this hypothetical guy had a lot going on in the old bean, the old dome after that lunch, which left him in shambles. And so that prompted the world's longest text message, which brought down the Verizon network, apparently. And the hypothetical girl and the hypothetical guy end up getting together before meeting the hypothetical guy's friends, and they have a hypothetical conversation. And hypothetically speaking, it went well. And boy, does the hypothetical guy feel like a friggin' hypothetical idiot, hypothetically. But my God, did the hypothetical guy make a strong case in his head that that was happening, instead of just doing what they eventually agreed to do, which was, hey, speak up, use your voice. Don't just sit there in silence and suffer in silence. Don't sit there and question in your own head. Actually take that question from the old cerebellum, the old nude. Just have it go travel, take that short little road trip down to the mouth and out. So, yeah, it's, it's not even a gift. People say, oh, you're so thoughtful. And it's like, at what cost? At what cost? The amount of damage I'm doing to my friggin' skull from the overthinking, the overanalyzing. Is it worth it? Let me work it. I flip it down and reverse it. So, yeah, heads up, kids. Don't overthink. Don't overanalyze. And do and say. I think what set me down the wrong path was I had this. Well, you don't have to say hypothetically anymore, Neil. I think they get it. I had said something to my partner to the effect, and I want to say exactly what it was. But in my head and in my gut and my soul and in my nutsack, I really thought that this thing that I was saying was part funny, but also part kind of endearing, maybe weirdly romantic in a certain light. But upon feedback is might be a little gross. So, you say this thing and you kind of get a rise out of the fact, you kind of get when you get a strong reaction from saying it, you kind of laugh, but you're also, it's exciting because it's like, ooh, um taboo. I don't know. There's something about it. And you don't say this thing to make that other person crawl out of their skin in a creepy, icky way. You do it so that they get a little, it's like the risque factor, or the fact that, it's dirty or whatever, it's just, and it's between the two of us. It's private, even though I'm now saying it out loud on a podcast. Yikes. I'm not saying the exact thing. All I'm saying is I said a thing, and I think there are people out there that would look at that or see that, mostly women, and be like, disgusting. But most guys would be like, oh, it's kind of a sweet line, bro. That's why, whatever. And then I got a text. I got to mixed it into a longer text message that I usually send. And I got to please stop saying that in return. And the text message went unloved, unliked, unreacted. And please stop saying that. So I think that's what probably put me down the wrong path or started me on the wrong path, And it's like, I guess I could have made it, question it or push back maybe a little or made my case, went on the defensive or just been like, and tried to investigate more. But I was just like, I think that's also going on the wrong path. So I guess somewhere in the middle, right? It's like, hey, I'm sorry that's upsetting you, which I did apologize, but it was very like, I'm sorry. It should have been like, I'm sorry for upsetting you, but it wasn't meant to, that kind of thing. It wasn't meant to upset you. It was meant to be this thing that's part funny, but also part like, I don't know, provocative. Can I say that? The P word. So, yeah, that's what started things off on the wrong path. And then I think I did withdraw a little bit because it just felt like, I don't know if this person ultimately really likes me for me. I think it's like, and then you start to get in your own head about like, well, am I being myself around this person, or am I projecting something on the first date, the first month of being together, the first couple months? Am I truly putting my most genuine, authentic self out there? Or am I putting a filter on, or, it's, so again, overthinking, overanalyze. But, it all got worked out in the end. And, I envy this person's ability to keep it moving, as she says. Keep it moving. All right, this thing happened. There's no need to get in your own feelings about it for that long. Learn from it and move on. So I guess what I was trying to get across in this talk that I said I thought was good, but in my head would have been great is, and I might have mentioned this, but like, I understand keep it moving, but also like part of the reason we're at this point is because we didn't talk about it. So I do want to make sure that we talk about it. Like, obviously, and this is why relationships drive me crazy. And communication is so fucking hard. And despite the fact that I have 2 goddamn degrees in communication, essentially, and still don't know how to do it 4 fucking decades into my life. It's finding that right balance. And like, as many people have noted and pointed out repeatedly, both those familiar with me and those not familiar with me, damn, Neil, you have a very black and white view of the world. Black and white thinking. It's no bueno, right? So it's not if this, then that, or if this isn't this, then it's this. If it's not A, then it's B, And so trying to get past that. But it's like, don't dwell in the past, but do address something that happened in the past so it doesn't happen again in the future, right? And then you want to plan out with this person, but you also don't want to, I don't know. Fucking A. But this person did help me realize that I had been reading the recipes and instructions for GreenChef completely wrong. I don't know what it is with instructions. I guess I'm just too used to scanning, and you really do have to read every single word with instructions these days because they like to sneak stuff past you. With GreenChef, it's like, they bold words. So you're like, all right, I need the onions, or I need this spice, blah, blah, blah. But then you kind of glaze over the stuff that's not bolded or like emphasized. And it's like, oh, I was supposed to save half of that for later, or something to that effect. Well, with this one, I'm looking at the card and I'm looking at what's included in the package, but I'm like not even paying attention to literally the 2 columns next to it that say 2 servings and 4 servings, right? So I signed up for the 2 servings. It was originally 4 meals a week, 2 servings each. So that's effectively 8 meals over the week, which is more than I needed. So I dialed it back to 3. Anyway, it's 2 servings, Neil. 2 servings. That's what you should be following, the 2 servings. So what did I do? I thought, well, they must mean that 2 servings is for, I don't know what the fuck I thought. 2 servings is for half a person and 4 servings is for a full person. So I was like, well, I'm not these 2, like, I was thinking 2 servings is 1 serving and 4 servings is 2 servings. And I'm 2 servings. So I should have been following 2 servings, but I was doing everything 4 servings. So everything was very wet. It was so fucking wet. It was like, it's double the olive oil that there should be. It's like double the salt, double the pepper, double the sauce, double the butter, it was double everything, double the water. So like if I'm trying to make couscous or bulgur wheat or rice, it's like that shit is fucking slop because I put in too much goddamn water. And I didn't, or, if I put into too much water, I didn't compensate by letting it heat more and dry out. Fluff that shit. So I ain't no fluffer, homie. GreenChef, though, we were talking about instructions for GreenChef. They dropped this fucking gem on me I reread this sentence about 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Could not wrap my head around it. My brain glitched out every single time. One of the steps for this recipe was to bowl of dressing, add kale. All right, Yoda, just fucking simmer down. Jesus. To bowl of dressing, add kale. How about you just add kale to the bowl of dressing? Can we do that? It's like I feel like the recipe writers who crank out the instructions are like, it's so monotonous. They're just like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, like that kind of thing. And so they're just like, I just got to mix this up a little bit and like variety is the spice of life. I got to do something here. So, that was crazy. So yeah, she helped me to realize that, you're just not paying attention. You're not fully focusing on the job at hand, most likely because you're distracted thinking about something else like your relationship that you think is something that's not. I wish I could pull up that sound clip. I had a pretty nasty night terror, and I don't even know if I can pull it up. I wonder if it'll be on this. Probably not. No, I can't pull it up. I might have to add it in post. I had a night terror, and it was a bad one. Like 3 something in the morning, screaming at the top of my lungs. And I'm like, I'm shocked that the neighbors haven't complained. I'm shocked that I haven't gotten like an eviction notice being like, the terrors, the screaming, the nighttime horrors are a bit much, sir. Sir, where are the bodies? But that same night, like 2 hours later, so this is probably like 5:30 in the morning. It's I gotta find it. Fuck. And I'm filming with my phone. I should have wrote it down. I wonder if I saved it. Nope, I didn't. But it was like you wanna get ugly? Let's dance. Or something like that. It was just I said it in such a fucking cool way. It was such a cool line. I mean, it was essentially like, you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Like along those lines. Like I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum. Like along those lines. It was an all-time quote. And it's got to be from a movie or a TV show, or I must be combining or meshing the two in my brain, because it was just like, it was one line, and it was both scary and like I respected the fuck out of it. Like scared, but also kind of proud, like that my mind can go there. And I can talk like a badass. I can't actually be a badass, but I can talk like one. If you're gonna go down in style, might as well go out with a bang. Another night, my sleep app caught me kind of singing Ballroom Blitz. Sure, why not? And I think that's because I've been, I'm no longer like, I've decided that I'm going to listen to what I want to listen to in the car when I pick up my daughter and drop her off. Whenever I have her in the car, obviously the majority, there's a healthy portion of the catalog and library of songs that I like that are not safe for anyone. So I have to kind of stick to classic rock playlists, because I feel like, well, there's some edgy stuff, but it's not like there's not a ton of profanity or cursing. And like I feel like I can, a lot of the rap that I have liked, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it's just, it's tough. It's tough to navigate. But the classic rock feels like it's a little more, if I can get her into that, then great. And so far, my daughter has been kind of into it. She's asking me a lot of questions. She's like, almost every song that I like, she's like, or if I don't like it. So she knows that if I take my hand up and I press the lower right hand corner where the plus sign is, and then it turns into a green check mark, that means I like it. And so if I don't do it right away, maybe because I'm focusing on something else, like the road while I'm driving, she'll be like, Daddy, is this song cool? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, why don't you like it then? And I'm like, well, I don't. It's a great question. And then I internalize it, and I don't talk to her for like 5 minutes as I try to wrestle with the idea of, why don't I like this song? Do I like this song enough to add it to my liked songs, or just like it a little bit? And if you just like it a little bit, does it really need to be in the like songs playlist? And if I listen to this song again, am I going to like it as much, or is it just I like it because I haven't heard it in a long time? Fucking yikes, dude. So she's been asking a lot of questions about the songs, like, what does he mean when he says this? And like there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? Blood Sugar Sex Magic is the album. Back-to-back songs, which is rare because I had it on shuffle. It was Under the Bridge was the first one. And the second one was Give It Away. So the first one, she's like, this song is slow. And I was like, yeah, well, he's kind of sorrowful and sad and solemn because of his past. And so that's why it's kind of like a little bit slower and melodic and whatever. And she's like, well, why is he sad? And I was like, well, I think he misses this part of the city, but he was doing unhealthy things, and he's not doing the unhealthy things anymore, but he's just remembering how bad it was. And so he's glad that he's out of it now. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, he just needs to do healthy things. And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? And then Give It Away comes on, and that's like, I don't want to say the polar opposite, but whereas Under the Bridge is like is more sad and reflective, Give It Away is funky, upbeat. And she's like, oh, is this the same song? Because it's the same album cover, on Spotify. She's like, is this the same song? Is this the second part of the same song? If so, whoa. And I'm like, no. This is a different song from the same album. She's like, what's an album? And I'm like, oh boy, this is fun. Really getting to flex the brain muscles. And I was like, well, he's got this energy. He's high energy. He's got a lot of good energy, positive energy, or he's feeling funky and he wants other people to feel funky too. He feels good. He wants other people to feel good. So he's telling people, if you have this energy, you give it away. Give it away to your mama. Give it away to your papa. Give it away to your daughter. Give it away to your sister, your brother. Just give it away now. Which, is that the song? Is that the meaning or message behind the song? I have no clue. What I've learned over the course of these past couple of weeks, where I've had the classic rock playlist on, is that my daughter, I don't know shit about music. I don't know what the meaning of songs are. I don't know what the lyrics are. I've clearly said that a couple times where I've misheard the lyrics, and it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, there was a song, I told my lady this, but like, and there are songs that like when you're younger, everyone else likes it and it's catchy. So you're just going hog wild on it and you love it. And then you kind of grow up and you start to pay attention more to the words and the lyrics. And you're like, what the fuck? Why did I like this? There's so Naughty by Nature's OPP, other people's. And I think the radio edit of that last P, the second P, is property. But I feel like even that is also so wrong. You should not, because they're referring to other people's, the P word for kitty cat and the P word for the penis. No, it's just, yeah, it's that. So it's essentially about like, who's down with who's down with cheating? Essentially, it's like, who's down with stealing your man's girls, who's down with like snatching someone else's girl or guy? Who's down with cheating? Who's down with extramarital affairs? Who's down with that shit? And everyone's like, yeah, you know me. And it's like, what happened? I mean, we used to play that song. I vividly remember like singing along to that with an auditorium full of kids in 6th and 7th grade. And like even the admins and the teachers are on stage like, hey, ho. And it's like, what's happening here? I guess that's how Naughty by Nature kind of circumvented, was able to land, because they never explicitly, say it in the song. And I guess no one's paying attention to the words. No one's paying attention to the words. So I like initially liked the song when it came on recently, but then I unliked it. I took a stance, because I was like, no, nay, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. Naughty. So yeah. So now I'm trying to pay closer attention to lyrics. I'm like, she's just gonna, because it's all new to her. She's never heard any, because her mom doesn't play classic rock playlists. It's Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift. That's it. Maybe some Casey Musgraves mixed in for good measure. So she knows a lot of Taylor Swift songs and sings them a lot in my presence to herself, which is totally cool. But it was like, I'm hoping that the classic rock kind of balances her out a little bit. No offense to any Swifties, but there's the most, too much of the same thing. What's the expression? Like my mom watches only Fox News. Too much Fox News. Kind of poisons the brain, right? Too much Taylor Swift, same effect. I don't know. So I'm trying to, make her a well-rounded individual. And so I thought introducing classic rock and like me enjoying the classic rock specifically would be like, that's her cue to enjoy it. And maybe, I don't know, that'll help her be a more well-rounded individual. But yeah, we had our date night and went to Princeton Soup and Sandwich. I don't think it's not on NASA Street. It's probably a block or two west, south. I don't freaking know. North. And it's kind of near Palmer Square. Very tiny shop on the corner. We got there and there was like a little kiosk type thing, like where you can order. And I'm like, oh, they must not have a worker at the desk, at the front desk or whatever, the counter, to take orders. They probably just are slammed, short staffed. So they have this. And I'm like, I don't mind that, because there's no doubt in what I can get. There's no doubt in what I ordered. It's all, I have to select it and I have to be specific and blah, blah. So I go through the whole process of, I'm asking my daughter, hey, do you want this? Do you want this? And it's, because there's this little kid who's not too sure and needs to see pictures. And, it takes way longer than it needs to be if it was just me. And so I get to the very end and it says like error. And so I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So then I go through the whole rigmarole again, because it won't like let me just reload or refresh the page. So I had to go through and add it again. Error. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I go in and I'm like, hey, your order kiosk out there is like, there's like an error. I can't do it. And she's like, well, why don't you just order in here? And I'm like, well, why didn't you? Come on. Give me a heads up. So she ended up getting a hot dog. I got a falafel wrap. Falafel wrap was on point. My daughter still eats hot dogs weird. I even showed her. I did a little demo. I was like, listen, you hold it like this and it goes like that into your mouth. She was eating it like corn on the cob. So basically like hot dog bun. And she's just like side to side, the length. Is it the width? The length of the hot dog, the long part of the hot dog, like going that way instead of just like turning it and eating it that way. So I was like, how? I guess because I never really explained it to her. That's on me. I think I just found it so amusing and funny. I was like, she'll figure it out. And then she just hasn't. I've never corrected her until now. I was like, oh, you can just turn it and eat it like that. And she was like, can I just eat the bread first? And then I was like, yeah, okay. My word, you're going to make some people laugh very hard when you're older. So yeah, it was a good time. It was not too cold, and that part of Princeton's really pretty, beautiful. And so those are the memories I'm trying to make with my daughter. And every time I'm there, I'm like panicking and sweating and have anxiety because there's just no public restrooms. And sure enough, it came, and like, luckily, I think we were in a great place when she did eventually say, I got to go potty. It was like, and then like immediately saw a bar / restaurant. And I was just like, fuck it. We're going in. Went in, and there's like no one there guarding the door. There's no host or hostess. So we just got to walk through. And it turns out that the restroom for the hotel, I couldn't find the restroom in the restaurant. I guess there was a sign pointing to like, just keep going. And I keep going. And it's like, okay, now we're outside the restaurant, and I see restrooms, but they have like the card scanners that all hotels have because it's connected to a hotel, the Nassau Inn, I think it is. And so I'm like, fuck, what is it with this goddamn area not letting people shit and piss? Please, please. So it turns out I did not need a card, thank the Lord, to open the restroom and go in and do our American duty as American citizens. So yeah, great date night. Wasn't all well and good with my daughter when I had her for the long haul last week. It was or the weekend before. This is that towards the end of February, or the you know what I'm talking about. Her pronunciation. She's gotten to this habit where she's like, do you want to play Mario Kart with me? I'm like, yeah. She's like, cool. We play a couple games, and she's like, all right, now you play and I'm going to draw. And so it was like a case of like, okay, now I'm going to play, single player. And then she wants me to pick a character that she then wants to draw, and then she'll draw it in her sketchbook. And I forget what word she was trying to say, like what character has a th or a f in their name. But she cannot say th, the th sound. It's like, I'm thirsty, Oh, the thunder, lightning and the thunder. So yeah, she can't say the th. And so I'm trying to tell her, like, I'm trying to help her spell and I'm trying to help her pronounce, and she just like loses it. And so I gave her a timeout, and, felt like it was one of those timeouts where it's like, I don't think she learned anything in that timeout. I don't think that interaction, anything that I did right there, helped at all. I think it just was like, ended up hurting. But there's some times where it's just like, nope, I don't have the capacity to deal with this right now. So luckily we were invited to a party, so we went up north for the party. It was about a 90-minute drive north. Arrived, kind of in the afternoon. And fortunately, there were a bunch of kids there. These are people that I used to live near with, either in Hoboken or at the Jersey Shore, that we've stayed in touch, which is awesome. And now we've gone from partying our genitalia off, sans kids, to 10 years later, now we all have kids. We can't necessarily party at the same kind of intensity or level that we used to, but that's not necessary, right? Beautiful house. The last time I was there was 4th of July, I want to say 2 years ago, when it seemed like I think people were still procreating. We had a lot of babies over the past 2 or 3 years. And so I'm there with my child, my daughter, and not my wife, because I don't have a wife anymore. And yet everyone else is engaged or getting married or married, or so I was kind of like the tragic don't story. Like, this is what happens when your brain's on drugs. No, it's like, here's an example of what not to do, or something like that. So I had oh, shocking, I had like I had a, oh boy, stigma about it that's stuck on it, so this go around wasn't the same, because I'm now in a relationship, so I feel a little bit better about myself, which is sad, but that's the truth. And I even got a congratulations from someone when I told them. It was like, thanks. I mean, we've been officially been together like 2 or 3 months, but thank you for the congratulations. I don't hear that word often, so thank you. But the two hosts, beautiful house, so there's plenty of room. Got this huge island in the kitchen, and they got entirely way too much food for, I want to say less than a dozen people. 10, maybe there was a dozen. And then of course the kids too, but the kids they just have no interest. They immediately go for the goldfish and the pirate booty. That's all they care about. And the cakes. My God, the cakes. So there was a lot of food. 2 huge, I want to say like, party subs, spinach dip, chicken fingers, ziti, chicken parmesan, chips, crudité. I'm assuming I'm missing more. There was like, meats and cheeses, and it was a lot. A dip, 7-layer dip, Mediterranean salad. So I mostly stuck to the dip and the salad. And there were a bunch of birthdays, so we got to celebrate those. Ended up playing some pool, which I still am so just embarrassingly bad at pool. And I don't think that I'll ever, like, it doesn't matter how many people try and coach me through it and teach me it. It's never going to get better. And we got some food to take home, and we drove home, left around 8, got home around 9:30. They invited us to stay as they did the 4th of July party, but I just, her mother was going to pick her up the next day. And ultimately, I think I'm glad we didn't stay, because she woke me up at 7:15 in the morning and was like, I just threw up. Like, oh boy, here we go. So yeah, that Sunday was throwing up just all day. Didn't eat a damn thing. Maybe had a Cheerio. Trying to get her to drink milk, trying to get her to eat Cheerios, and she just wasn't having it and was throwing up a lot, but handling a lot better than she did over Christmas. Because I think Christmas, that might have been the first time that she threw up. It felt like it might have been the first time that she threw up, and she just was like, what the hell is this sensation going on in my body? What's happening? This time she didn't freak out as much. There were a couple times she asked me to hold her hair, and I was like, yeah, sure. But it's like, I, of course, fuck that up because she has short hair. So it's like I go to grab it and I pull it back, and then all the strands get in their way, and then the puke on the strands, and fuck. And then I went to a mini panic mode because I remember I try to download, and first of all, the school sends, I don't know why they do this, why they can't just figure out how to send this in the email. But basically they're like, here's the newsletter, it's attached, and you have to it's a PDF. So you have to download the PDF, and then you have to open it in a PDF reader. And it's just like, there's got to be a better way. And I don't know if that's for security purposes or whatever. I don't know, but it's just fucking brutal to have to download every single piece of communication to read it, especially when I'm on my work computer or on my phone. It's just ridiculous. But I vaguely remember them mentioning something about norovirus going around the school. And I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah, in that newsletter on Friday, that Friday before the party, they were talking about norovirus and saying it's highly contagious. And here are the precautionary measures that you need to take in order to, and I'm like, ain't nobody but the most insane people are going to take these precautionary measures. Anytime you ask me to mix bleach with water, I don't know that I can do that. I know I just made it sound super simple, but it's I'm going to fuck that up. And I don't really and then I'm going to worry about the gloves and the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm thinking about it, and it kind of brought back feelings about COVID-19, where it's you have to, wash your hands for fucking 3 hours, and then you have to put on your hand sanitizer after you touch everything. And it's just to live that way, that's not living, that's not how we should live. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't do any of that. And I don't know that I'm going to continue to do that. Every time she pukes, I'm going to have to bleach it in the sink. What? So I don't know. I think I had a theory that I probably got it, norovirus, because I had a little tinge of something was off in my stomach, just a slightest itsy bitsy scrumdiddlyumptious particle of nauseousness, just a tinge, just a hint. And I was like, but I think my body is just so used to, yes, it's worn down. And yes, the immune system probably not as great as it used to be, but it's also seen a lot of shit, And so it's probably compared to some of the other stuff this guy's put in us, I think we're all right. We can handle it. We can handle this. So I don't know if I had norovirus. I don't even know if she had it because she was just vomiting. There's also like diarrhea and like a couple other symptoms that she did not have. So, but her mom picked her up later that afternoon because I had taken her the previous Tuesday night, which is why I wasn't able to pod. You were like, "Hey, what happened?" That's what happened. I had the little one. So yeah, norovirus. Even with norovirus or whatever friggin' sickness she had, I decided I was like, I keep using my daughter as an excuse not to work out, and it's horseshit. I got to stop doing that, right? So I was like, I'm going to work out in front of her because I think that's going to set a good example. And then I'll be like, hey, because most of our time is spent watching TV or playing video games. And I'm like, I'm creating a couch potato. Like this is the beginning of, me formulating and manufacturing a lifelong couch potato. So I was like, all right, I got to start working out in front of her. I can't use her as an excuse anymore. She's old enough where she knows she's not going to get in the way and like whatever. There's no risk of injury, I don't think. And so I ended up doing mountain climbers. That's where you're in the plank position, or push-up position. And then you lift each leg, alternate each leg. So it kind of looks like if you were to kind of stand me up, it looks like you're climbing a mountain. And she's like, oh, daddy, we do that in gym class. And then sick as a dog, this friggin' little bugger gets on the floor next to me and starts cranking them out. Like, yeah, we do this in gym class. And she's like, and I've never felt like less of a man. And believe me, there's been plenty of times where it's like, I'm not a man. But like to see my 5-year-old daughter get down sick as shit and do mountain climbers better than me, a healthy grown man. Whew. I've had so many wake up calls in my life, and that was just add that one to the list. So, yeah, that was my time with my daughter. This weekend, we're going to go see Mary Poppins or Mary Poppins Jr. I don't know what the difference is. All I know is it's at the middle school, and I assume that it's middle schoolers that are put on the show. We'll see how she likes that. We'll see. I mean, I've taken her to a movie a couple times and she's been able to get through it. Hopefully this will kind of be this similar situation where it's like, oh no, we don't talk while it's thing. No, I know that it feels a little wooden performance right now. Yeah, so that should be fun. And then I think she had to stay home from school on Monday because she was still not 100%. And I think she almost stayed home from school on Tuesday. Maybe she did, but then she went on Wednesday because, my ex, her mom, sends an email to the nurse and is like, hey, she's got these things going on, but if she's feeling good, she might come in late. And the nurse is like, if she has norovirus, she needs to stay the fuck away from this premises. Like, okay. I just took I had like $600 in my health savings account or health, I don't know, HSA. And I decided to just blow it all in one go. Like I went to the store, the HSA store online, and I was just like, yeah, this looks interesting. This looks fun. I just like spent like 500 some odd bones. Anyway, there were 3 things that I spent money on that were the big ticket items. A metabolism test, which I wasn't able to take tonight. I have to take it within 30 minutes of waking up. No food, no drink. And then the other one was the ones I did take tonight, a food sensitivity comprehensive test where you have to use a lancet, this little guy that were like, it's just kind of like a little quick needle poke in your finger. And then you have to squeeze the blood out of your finger onto this pad into the they have circles. There's 10 fucking circles on this sheet. And you have to drip enough blood on it to fill the circle. The circle is probably like that big. So it's not like huge, but like I was running out of blood. I had to poke twice and I almost poked a third time. I might have poked a third time. I think I did poke a third time. Yep. So I don't know what that says about my blood supply. But yeah, I was able managed to get to squirt enough there, leak enough blood in order to fill out all 10. And so now I got to mail that back. But metabolism test, food sensitivity, and the food sensitivity test is like, well, if you haven't had the food that you're sensitive to in the last 3 months, we're not going to be able to identify it. So it's like, I wish I'd known that, because then I would have ate everything. You just gave me an excuse to go hog wild on all the food. But I'm like, my hypochondriac brain is convinced that, there's just something. It's not because I don't eat right and exercise and get enough sleep. No, it's something that is wrong with me physically that I just don't know about. And once I do know about it, that'll unlock everything. Yeah. So that should be fun to get those results. And then the third one, I don't know if I should really share what that one's about. I honestly have never had. Maybe I'll give you hints and you can guess. It's a test that I don't think I've ever had, but I will say I might have taken the test before we had our daughter. So you do the math. I thought I would take another one of those just to see what I got going down there in that region. So that's fun. And then Peloton delivering soon. So I know I look like really svelte right now and hot and sexy and whatnot, but it's only going to get hotter and sexier. So hopefully you can contain yourselves. And the one part of life that I kind of glossed over that I probably shouldn't have, I got to visit. This is the first time that I ever introduced my new girlfriend to friends. And these two friends I've talked about multiple times on the pod. They have a house in Block Island, which is a goddamn resort, an oasis that I love going to. And they're pretty decent judges of character, I guess you could say. And I thought it would be like a nice test. Like we're kind of, I guess we're in testing mode, right? It's like she's introduced me to her friends. And I think I passed. I think I did enough that the friends were like, hey, he doesn't seem like a complete ass clown. And so she was like, do you have friends? Where are your friends? I don't think you have friends. Because I guess I don't talk about them enough, or I don't hang out with them enough. And that's on me. I got to make more of an effort. I apologize to all my friends. So that's a resolution, I guess, that hopefully I can follow up on and not cop out on. But if you are a friend and you are listening to this or watching this, know that I do want to see and talk to you, but that I get caught up in this old thing that's attached to my neck. So yeah, we ended up driving up to see them. My friends live in Hoboken. My girlfriend, despite having lived in New Jersey for the past 17 years, 18 years, has never been to Hoboken, which is earth-shattering. And like everyone I tell that to who has lived in New Jersey is just like, what? But her response is always, I'm from Colorado. Like, okay, cool. So we drove up and we got there around 6-ish. It was a fucking monsoon. It just rained hard all day that day. Like I got up fairly early, around 9 o'clock, made a nice breakfast, and then I went out and I went to the dispensary and I got my Wana Indica, which I hadn't tried prior to that, but I did way too much research into the best edibles for sleep, and Wana Indica was one of them. Lots of great reviews, and so I ended up getting that. Tipped the guy $5 on a $32 charge, and he didn't even see me. It was like that episode from, is it Seinfeld? Or maybe it's from Half Baked, where like the guy tips, puts his hand in the tip jar and tips, but the worker looks away so he doesn't see him place a tip. So he wants the worker to see him place a tip. That was kind of what I went through. And then because I gave him $40 and he gave me $6 in return. What am I talking about? Yes. Oh, so 34. It was $34. 34? Yeah. It was $34. And so he gave me 6 and change, a 5 and a 1. And so instead of putting the 1 in, I had in my mind that I would give him $3. And I was like, I feel like a total fucking dick bag if I asked this guy, hey, can you give me 5 1s? I've done it before and it's worked and no one gives a shit. But like again, my poison toxic brain sabotaged me again. So I just put the $5 in the tip jar. Woo. And that guy doesn't even know about it. Anyway, I always feel like when I go in that dispensary, everyone just looks at me as like fucking narc. It's legal now, narc. Get the fuck out of here, narc. I'm like, I'm not a narc. I just have sleep issues. So went to dispensary, got that. Went to the Joe Canals liquor store right off of Route 1 there. And was decided I was going to get some. I for whatever reason, I thought this restaurant we were going to was BYOB, even though I've been to this restaurant plenty of times to know that it is not BYOB. But again, doubt crept into my head and I was like, better safe than sorry. I'm just going to go. And if it isn't BYOB, I can just like, here's a gift. Like, or I was going to say, here's the gift. And like, we can bring it if it's BYOB. So I decided on red wine and I was like, the girlfriend likes Côte de Rhône, right? So I was like, all right, straight to the Rhône section of the red wine district. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, they have the one I got last time. It's a 91 out of 100, which is great. But I'm seeing over here, these two bottles, this one's a 94 out of 100 and this one's 92 out of 100. And I was like, I think I'm going to get these. And I'm looking at the price tags and I was like, whoa, this one's like $11. And then this one is originally 37, marked down to 32. What the fuck? I think I just landed in a goddamn gold mine of jackpots. So I grab those two. I go up and I wait in line. I get to the cashier. He's like, do the whole rigmarole. He's like, okay, insert tap over there. So I like tap it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, do you want a receipt? And I'm like, no, I'm all right. And then I look back. I was going to say, no, I don't need a receipt. And I look back at him because he asked me, do you want a receipt? And so I'm looking back. And as I'm looking back, I catch on the screen. I didn't even look at how much the total was before I just tapped my phone. I was just like, yeah, I'm on a timeline here, so I got to keep it moving. So I look back at the screen, $132 for 2 bottles of wine. I was like, ah. I felt like I got kicked in the dick and punched in the throat. So I was like, oh no. I think I made a mistake. I think there's been a mistake. I was like, one of these is $37 marked down to 32, and the other one's like $11. He's like, really? So he takes both bottles. He's like, maybe the scanner's broken or malfunctioning. So he goes over to the other scanner, comes back. He goes, I'm sorry, but these are the prices. And I was like, what? And I was like, which one's the more expensive one? He's like, well, this bottle right here is $109. I was like, what'd you say? He's like, this is $109 or $100, something like that. I was just like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, can you take it back? I know I'm really sorry, but I don't want that anymore. Can I exchange it for another one of these guys? That's not $100. And he's like, I can't do it here. You're going to have to go to customer service. I'm like, oh, shit. Go over to customer service. And I think Joe Canal himself, seems like it was Joe Canal, is helping me. And he's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I think I made a mistake here. I thought this was way cheaper. This is like $100. And I thought like it was 37 marked down to 32. I actually thought it was $10. And he was like, whoa, okay. He's like, well, let's go over and let's see what's happening here. Why you would think that. Walk over. And of course, the grading card, the report card or whatever they put over on it to let you know, hey, this is a 94, this is a 92, was covering the full price of the wine. So I saw $10 and I'm like, fuck yeah. And it was like, no, this is originally $110. You got to lift up that scorecard. It's $110 marked down to 90 some odd dollars. So I was like, ah, shit. And like literally, all I had to do is like either lift that card or just look 1 inch to the right and see that it was 90 marked down to 99 or whatever the fuck it was marked down to. Didn't do it. So I ended up getting 2 of the it was either Côte de Rhône or Chalafo de Papa, whatever the fuck that was. And he like credited back the money and I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think that's working. But Yeah, I think I audibly gasped. And then I tried to go to the car wash because the inside of my car, obviously my mom and sister got me car detailing or interior car cleaning for Thanksgiving, Christmas, one of the two. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. And it's like due, because I know that every time I drop off my daughter at school and they open the door, they're like, what, should we report them now? Should we wait? Like, this is untenable. So it's not a great look. So I go to I'm like, now I'm like, I'm not, I'm in my head again. It's raining cats and or dogs. It's a monsoon. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the car wash. But then I was like, I actually Googled it. Is it pointless to get a car wash in the rain? And they're like, no, it actually like da 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 da. Like Google constantly misleading me and not telling me the truth. So I go to the car wash, try to pull in. They have the cones up. It's blocked off. It's closed. So I'm like, fuck. And I was looking at this other place online and was like, you need to make a reservation 5,000 years in advance. And I'm like, I don't have the time. So I pulled down a little bit and I see there's like a detail shop and I'm like, well, maybe even though they don't have like the regular part of the drive-through part of the car wash ready and the vacuums, like that's not, available. Maybe if I pull up to the detail shop, I can pull into that like garage area. They can come in and do their thing and I can whatever. So I pull up and this guy comes walking out. I lower the window and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, are you guys closed? And he's like, uh, yeah, but what do you have in mind? And I was like, well, I just wanted the inside of my car cleaned. And he's like, all right, hold on. So he like runs back inside, he comes out with a brochure and he's like pointing to the two services. He's like, you can get the full shebang, like inside of your car cleaned and detailed, and it's normally this, but we'll give you a discount. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, or you can have this done. It's cheaper. We'll also give you a discount on that. And I was like, oh, well, I'll take this one, the higher one that's got this crazy discount. And so I go and park. He's like, park your car over there and come inside and we'll get you all rung up. And I'm like, cool. So I moved some stuff around the car to make it easier for them to clean the inside of the parts that matter, inside the car that matters. And I close the door and I'm going to walk to the entrance. And this other guy comes out who looks similar to the first guy. I want to say they're brothers. They look like brothers, but maybe not. Like same kind of hairstyle, same kind of hairdo, same kind of like build, like twins, but maybe not. I don't know. So he comes out and he goes, sorry, my buddy or my partner didn't ask you, but are you paying with cash or credit? And I was like, oh, credit. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's cash only. And I was like, okay. I see what you guys are doing here. You guys, look at the business that you're running, this little hustle. You're going to take the cash. No wonder it's discounted because it's cash. You're just going to take the cash all for yourselves. So I was like, no, I credit. He's like, I'm sorry. So then I had to go home and try and clean the inside of my car with the doors open while it's pouring rain, just like sheets on sheets on sheets. And managed to do, I guess, a semi-decent job. I don't have the necessary materials, resources to clean it the right way. So I used like all-purpose cleaner, like Bissell carpet cleaner on the seats, which I guess did the trick somewhat. And then was able to use the dustbuster to vacuum out the rest. But, got over to my girlfriend's, had a nice talk, and then we drove up in the monsoon, in the rain, where it literally looked like we were just driving into the mist, like the movie The Mist. Like it could not see anything beyond the 3 or 4 cars in front of us. It was just like we're driving into heaven right now. We're just driving into clouds. So that was a little precarious, but we got into the parking garage, parked. Again, this parking garage throws me off every single time because I'm like, what's reserved, what isn't, what is available to monthly visitors versus the dailies. Like I just figure I'm gonna get towed every time I go in there. And get to the apartment and have some drinks, have some nice drinks. I'm still not allowed to sit on their white couch because I always have dark denim and that Crocs. I guess that's a thing. Crocs. And then we end up going to Dino and Harry's. this really great restaurant in Hoboken that is not BYOB, even though I thought it was. And we just let my buddy's wife steer the ship. Just put all our faith into your hands, and you guide us to the promised land. And of course, she did not disappoint. Oysters from the West Coast, West Side, Komodo, Quasimodo. I don't know. They're West Coast oysters. They're really good. And of course, I look and I made a mess, like I always do. Giant mess, right there in the name. So, but the oysters were great. And then Caesar salad, and then porterhouse for 3. And there was 4 of us. Like rare, rare. So I was like, all right, well, the stomach, you've been through a lot, but what's another one? God gives his toughest test to his strongest warriors. Like, stomach can handle this, right? You've been through so much. Why turn back now? So mashed potatoes on the side, mac and cheese on the side, and broccoli rabe on the side. And oof, so good. Gin martini to start. I'm not really a gin martini kind of guy, but this was pretty decent. I got it with olive, and everyone else got theirs with a twist. And I wondered, like, am I the weirdo? Am I weird? Like, I think people are weirded out by this. I don't know why. So started off with that, and then ended up going with red wine from there on out. Another beautiful, beautiful dinner. They have live music now at Dino and Harry's. It's been a minute since I've been there. They cleared out an area kind of right when you enter to the left. So that I think the live music was really a nice touch. They have Coat Check. The guy who was Coat Check reminded me of DJ Khaled. I brought that up to my friends. They did not see it. They did not believe it. But this guy, it just felt like, in addition to kind of having a similar look to DJ Khaled, he almost talked like DJ Khaled. It was like we're giving him a coat, and he was like, and another one. And another one. Like, he just, the way his body moved with the way he talked, it was just like, are you with a label currently? Who are you producing for? Like, it just seemed like, because my girlfriend took her daughter's umbrella, which it looks like a pretty sweet, like, newfangled umbrella. And she's like, you cannot lose this. Like, my daughter would kill me. And he was like, all my life. It was just like, okay, this Coat Check guy is pretty fucking cool. Yeah, so that was baller. Went back to the apartment, and I don't know what was happening. I think I was hanging up my coat. I looked down the hallway, and my buddy's wife is on the ground. Their 14-year-old dog is like, is by her, kind of investigating, sniffing around. And the mirror, they have a huge mirror, like right along the corner there when you turn the corner to the guest bedroom. And apparently it was falling. Now, did it fall fast? I don't know. My drunken stupor, it didn't look like it was falling fast. Everything looked like it was happening in slow motion, and I was moving in slow motion. But like the mirror was falling, and my buddy's wife, I've never heard her this scared and terrified ever. Like, she just doesn't get scared and terrified, and it's just like sounds like rattled. She never sounds rattled. And this time she sounded rattled because she was worried that the mirror, this is how big the fucking mirror is. The mirror would come down and crush the 14-year-old dog to death. And so luckily my buddy came and saved the day, but we still have no idea what happened. We just don't know. Like, so did the dog clip it with its butt because it was so excited to see us? Did you happen to like take that corner a little too sharp and like bump into it? Like, what happened here? Because it's not fastened or secured to the wall or anything like that. It's kind of this free ball in there, and it, yeah. So that was an interesting little moment, and I like that. I was trying. My intention was, because my girlfriend was a former bartender, and my buddy has become quite the mixologist. I was hoping for like a bartender off, and I kind of almost got it. Like, my girlfriend was like, I'll make us whiskey sours. And so they were like, all right, okay. Because they're usually hosts and hostesses, and they're among the best, if not the best, host and hostesses. Like, it's just like your glass is almost never empty. They're just constantly like they're on top of everything. So for them to relinquish control of the drinks making to someone else is like, whoa, that's huge. So she ended up making whiskey sours, and I'm not a whiskey sour kind of guy or fan. I think the last time I had a whiskey sour was like college, and I just ordered it because my date ordered it, and I think some other people ordered it, and maybe it was like one of two cocktails you could get, kind of like a wedding situation. And I was like, sure, I'll get a whiskey sour, and I had it, and I was like, bar for Roni. Dun, 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 dun. This whiskey sour was amazing. It was great. I would have another one of those for sure. And another one. She used the Luxardo cherry to finish it off, which was really a great touch. I think I mixed in some high noons after that. It was, it was just good times. Talking a lot of football, which is great because it was like normally my buddy's wife would be like, no more man talk, no more football talk. And it was like, well, now you're at number 3-1. So I think it's your bedtime. Adios. And so I like that we got into some debates about, is Terrell Davis a Hall of Famer? Probably not. How do you feel as a Patriots fan knowing that the run is over and that you've entered a period of darkness? She was like really excited as a Broncos fan to throw that in his face, and he's had plenty of slings and arrows thrown his way, so he was dishing it right back, which I was like, this is perfect. This is just what I wanted. And then we went up to the rooftop and just took a look at the view, which they have quite the view, so that was nice. It was Hoboken St. Patty's Day too. Forgot to mention that. Hoboken St. Patty's Day. I did not get the sense that it was Hoboken St. Patty's Day, but that is, usually around 6 o'clock, like once the sun goes down, I think most people are like passed out, or like they're back at their apartment in bed or on the couch about to pass out, or ordering a massive amount of bad food that they can pig out on and then pass out. So I think that's why. Like, I think if we showed up at like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, and people were just like, just getting the party started, maybe things would have been different. But I do think that Hoboken is aged, right? Like, it went from this is a college town, party town, young professionals, to now it's like young families. So I think that might be part of it. But yeah, I didn't see many people celebrating or any like drunken stupors going on, any kind of stumbling, bumbling, any kind of zigzagging going on. But the area we're in too is very North Hoboken. So like most of the activity is going to happen either on Washington Street or down south, like by the pass station, because you do have people coming in from out of town to visit their Hoboken brethren, their friends and their foes. So I have a feeling that's what happened, because I'm thinking back to like all the Hoboken St. Patty's Day that I ever had, and was like, by the time, like if the sun is not out, I'm usually back. Like I'm usually in my bed, or I'm usually in an empty apartment. Like everyone has dispersed, because it's like we've been hardcore binge drinking for 12 hours. I think it's time to I think it's time we take it down a notch. So was hoping I could show my girlfriend a little taste of like, okay, this is the war. We're on the front lines right now. Hop in my foxhole. But nope, no dice. So, dear God, my mouth was so dry. We didn't get to bed until like 1-ish. My mouth was so dry, and all I could think about is, I wonder if my girlfriend thinks that my tongue is like a cat's tongue, because it was. I was like that. It just, I've felt the tongue of a cat on my skin, and it has to be what's going on right now with my tongue. But no feedback, so no news is good news, I guess. I end up waking up in the middle. I sleep so horribly for away games now. Like anytime I sleep in a bed that's not mine, I sleep like trash, like garbage, because they don't have like the 18 things I've now set up with all the research that I've done over the course of my life to prevent night terrors that doesn't work. Like blackout curtains, humidifier, essential oils, like it's just like silk sheets, like weighted blanket, everything. I don't have that when I travel, so I already sleep like garbage, and then throw in almost 10 milligrams of edibles with whatever the hell we smoked on the rooftop. So I was like on another planet, and then I wake up in the middle of the night, and I already have the worst headache imaginable. Like it feels like there's just a ball of pain in the middle of my skull and soaking wet. And I know what you're thinking. Neal, you're 43 years old. You done pissed the bed. Unbelievable. To that, I say, I don't think so. I'm pretty confident I didn't, because why would my pillow and pillowcase also be soaking wet? So it makes me think I just sweat. The furnace was cranked up to maximum. And I was just like, my body was like, nah, there's too many toxins, too much poison. And you're not going to get it out of your system through exercise or working out. So we're going to dump it while you're asleep and unconscious. So I have a feeling that's what the case was. And then couldn't breathe through my nose, which happened at the Airbnb, the Sugar Shack, Chatham, where it's just like my nose. I don't know what's going on with my nose, but I can't breathe through my nose, and so I had to breathe through my mouth. And then my mouth is already a fucking Sahara, and now it's the Kobe Desert, like doubly dry, quintuply dry. So yeah, I looked at my sleep quality, 37%. Ooh, baby. So we woke up at like 9:15 in the morning, which my buddy and his wife don't sleep well either, and so they wake up at like with the sun. Whenever the sun comes up, that's when they rise. And so I imagine they had already been up for like 2 or 3 hours by the time we got up. We got up at 9:15, which to me is not like sleeping in. But to them, it's like it might as well be 3 p.m. So I think we kind of felt bad about that. My buddy ended up cooking some really nice bacon, so nice from the oven, perfect crisp. The coffee was perfect. Ended up getting brunch at Elysian Cafe, which is on 10th and Washington there. We had reservations, and we had a reservation. We go there, we show up, and this guy who looked like he could have been a sophomore in high school or a freshman in college, but he had like the poofiest hair and this like little chain that was over a collared polo shirt. And you're like, this guy probably has little to no authority over what's going on and just does what he's told, which, most 16 and 19-year-olds, that's the general operating procedure. And so my buddy's wife, who's like alpha to the max, was just like, he's like, all right, come inside. And she's like, oh, can we sit outside? Like there are a couple of tables outside. Can we just sit outside? And he goes, no, you have to be on the wait list to sit outside. And she's like, what's the difference between a wait list and a reservation? He's like, well, it's first come, first serve. And we're like, well, but we're here. We're not on the wait list. We have a reservation. Table's open. What's happening? So we're like, but he said it was such like programmed, like he's been programmed to say this, and he's probably said it so many times, and in his head it probably makes sense, but it just doesn't make sense to us out loud. Like, if you have a reservation, why is there a wait list for outside? Reservations are only inside. Interesting, but it's first come, first serve. What's happening? So it's confusing as hell. Kick things off with the Bloody Mary, which was really good, but I was like, in order for me to not have my esophagus burst into flames, I need to switch it up. And so I don't know why I was looking. I just, as per usual, not thoroughly investigating. I know it's crazy that I do deep dives of analysis, but I don't just take it all in first. I just hone in on the one thing. And I saw like specialty drinks. And so I'm looking, I'm like, all these drinks are kind of lame. Like, I was like, should I order a mimosa or an Irish coffee? And they're like, what are you talking about? There's a whole drinks menu. I'm like, So I ended up getting a smoking gun. And holy shit, this is my new favorite drink. Mezcal, ginger, I want to say pineapple juice, lime, and soda. Am I right about this? See, I don't think this is the same one. Yeah, I don't think this is the same one. Because this one has saffron, orange juice, simple syrup, and whiskey. So I don't think this is it. You know what? Why not just go to the source, dude? All right, brunch menu. I wonder if they have the drinks on here. I don't think, no, they don't. Yeah, this is what, so the bar special, so I was like, should I order? I was just looking at the specials. I didn't know there were more drinks, and that's on me. So I already had the Bloody Mary. I was like, can't do a Bloody Mary again. I was like, should I do a Bellini, a screwdriver, a mimosa, or Irish coffee, or a hot toddy? And they're like, no to all of that. A Bellini? Get the fuck out of here. So I don't even know. I mean, I don't even think I've even had a Bellini. And I think it has like lychee in it or something like that. The one that looks like alien eggs. It's so gross. Pearl onions. But I don't even know if they have the regular friggin' drinks in here. Private parties, lunch, dessert, dinner. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have it. Cocktail menu. Nope. I wonder what that is. That's like the second or third menu I've tried to look at to be like, hey, what are the cocktails? And no dice. So that sucks. All right. Smoking gun. Mezcal. Let's see here. Poncho smoking gun. Oh, this has tequila, grapefruit, jalapeno, agave syrup, bitters, and mezcal. Yeah, I don't think that's it. It was light. It was refreshing. Mezcal, lime juice, grapefruit. Maybe it was grapefruit juice and not pineapple juice. But it was light, refreshing. Highly recommend. I think I got 2 or 3 of those. So good. The waitress came along and picked up our empty glasses, and both my buddy and I looked at each other like, she serious? And so she picks it up with one hand, both glasses, turns and immediately drops them. Breaks everywhere. And of course there are reactions. You know, I didn't react. I clapped a little, but that's it. And so the waitress is like, why did everyone react like that? And it's like, first time dropping something, first time ever experiencing anything being dropped. Like, that's what happens at restaurants. People are just get off on that shit for whatever reason. But I had noticed that a fry, so I ended up getting the croque madame, which I thought was something else. I thought it was a croque monsieur. Apparently the croque madame, it's just on toast, like the ham, Gruyere cheese, and egg on toast. And it wasn't really that toasted. I think I was thinking of the croque monsieur, which is, I think, the ham, cheese, egg on French toast, which is just so goddamn good. And then the fries that they have there are the bomb. They're basically like the old school McDonald's fries that were like the government didn't come in and say, hey, maybe pump the brakes on the sodium intake on these fries. Like, the same does not apply to Elysian, because they just it's like you're eating McDonald's fries. So freaking good. So I had dropped I don't know if I dropped a fry or the guy who had served it like had put it down and the fry kind of bounced out on the floor. So when the waitress drops the glasses and breaks everywhere, the fry, I had noticed the fry and I was like, it feels weird for me to pick it up, and I'm not going to pick it up. But then she drops the glasses on the floor. So I reached down and then everyone's like, what are you doing? They all thought I was going to pick up the shards of glass, and and instead I come back up with a fry, and they're like, what? Why? What? Why? So why do I do what I do? There really is no answer, folks. Why do I do this podcast? Only the Lord knows. On the walk back from brunch, I showed my lady where I lived. And of course, there were a bunch of stories told throughout the weekend. So I think she got a better sense of who I am. And the thing that my friends have done, and she's not the first girlfriend to meet this set of friends, this couple, but they always do this thing where they're like, we're going to roll out the most embarrassing stories about this guy that you're seeing, and let's see how you handle it, which I guess is a good test. It's like, okay, I get it. That makes sense. But it drives me wild every time. I'm just like, oh, fuck, this is where it ends. This is where the relationship ends. They're like, did Neal ever tell you the nicknames of all his prior girlfriends? And I'm like, all right, first of all, no. None of my girlfriends that I've had relationships with where it's exclusive have had nicknames. The random hookups I've had over the years somehow, some way end up with nicknames. And so they ended up running down the list of nicknames, and my girlfriend was just like, "You hooked up with a girl nicknamed Pizza the Hut?" And I'm like, let's just move. Can we just, man has needs. So that always kind of drives me wild. But like they just, they bring up the same stories, and the stories are good, and the stories are funny. But I'm like, oh, well, this is it. It's now or never. Like, we'll see how this flies once we are just the two of us alone. So I mean, I gain every time I hang out with this couple, I gain at least 5 pounds. I gained 5 pounds again this past weekend. I was 215, I went up to 219, 220, just about. Sunday was like the fattest of fat kid days. I had the bacon in the morning, had the brunch, the fries, and the croque madame. Go back to my lady's place, and we ordered delivery, where I was like, I really want pub food. It's like, oh boy, my arteries are like, oh, really? Pub food, huh? That'll be fun. So we ordered from a place called MJ's, and they have a volcano burger, which is like, as soon as my heart heard that, my heart was like, this is my letter of resignation. It's been an honor to work for you. So volcano burger, I got to look up what was on it. I completely forgot. Oh no, it's in Spotswood, which is like the next town over from, not that I should be giving away clues. Hello. Menu, please. Thanks. Oh, I hate when websites fucking do this shit. Oh, that was a cool little sound effect. Volcano burger. This is topped with smoked shoulder bacon, melted spicy ghost pepper cheese, shredded lettuce, tomato, caramelized onions, fried green tomatoes, and spicy habanero mayo. Serve with sweet potato tater tots. Oh, so good. $18. That's where we're at. So I couldn't pass up on that once I saw all that shit. Now, did I taste the bacon? Did I taste the pepper cheese? Not necessarily. Did I taste the fried green tomatoes? I don't remember vividly. I didn't think I got a lot of the spicy habanero mayo or the caramelized onions. It was still a delight to have. I split it with my lady. We also had the nachos, which were, there has to be a law we can pass that if you're not good at nachos, do not put nachos on your menu, because they just didn't do it for me. It was essentially like, we're going to get like the thinnest possible chips that are super fragile, and we're just going to put like not even Velveeta, like the most liquidy of melted cheeses on top that does not, like, like the real cheese, when you pick up the nacho and it, like, the string happens. Like, there was none of that happening with these nachos. Let me zoom. Enhance. So yeah, we got the nachos. Cheese sauce, which that should have been my first clue. Like, if it's good cheese, good nacho cheese, it's not cheese. You don't call it cheese sauce. Cheese sauce, never a good thing. Unless you're talking about a whiz cheesesteak. Even then, it's iffy. Shredded lettuce, black olives, grilled jalapenos, chopped tomato, toasted corn, white onions. Finished with the salsa verde and sour cream, chili on the side. It sounded good, but just did not, the execution wasn't there. And then we got the handmade Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. Oh my God. Sauteed onions, peppers, and cheese rolled in an egg roll wrapper and deep fried. So good. And it came with like a dipping sauce that was pretty legit. So overall, a good order. And I came away happy with it. And we ended up watching Bob's Burgers and then falling asleep on each other on the couch. Woke up and then drove home around 7. We ended up getting lunch the next day. I was working in the city in the office, and she was again went to another class at the Peloton studio. So she had been before for a tread class, live tread class, which she dominated, and then this one was a power walking class. Apparently, she can power walk at a clip of 5 miles per hour. And even I think she could do 6 miles per hour. It's like, I can, once it hits 5, I have to jog. And 6 feels like a sprint. So we ended up getting lunch at the Judge Roy Bean Public House, which I think was the last restaurant I ate at before getting canned at the New York Post. Holla at your boy. Got jalapeno poppers, and I got to tell you, best jalapeno poppers I've ever had. Best. And it's because they did it right. So many, and again, same with nachos. If you don't do it well, why do you have it on the menu? Most places have it. It's like heavily, heavily, heavily breaded. Very little actual jalapeno pepper, and it's like the awful like cheese sauce type thing where it's like nuke hot, like liquid hot magma. These jalapeno poppers, there was like the full jalapeno pepper cut in half, filled with cream cheese, the way God intended, and just the lightest of breading, just the faintest of breading. Like you can see the pepper. If you can't see the pepper, jalapeno pepper, too much breading. And just a light coating of breading, and so fucking good. Just do that. And then they have this Judge Roy Bean burger that was pretty good, and we also got the Brussels sprouts. Can't do it. I feel like we have our go-to order as a couple. It's like Brussels sprouts, cheesesteak, egg rolls. So this place is on 56th Street in Manhattan. Let me see if I can pull up the menu for this burger, because it definitely caught our attention. Let me see here. Oh no, I had it right there. Oh no. I mean, I almost got the Philly spring rolls again. Not gonna lie. All right, now I gotta go back. Fuck you. All right. Oh, it doesn't have it. Caramelized onion, bacon, pepper jack, cheddar, deep fried pickles. I think the deep fried pickles is what sold me. So we ended up splitting that with the Brussels sprouts and the jalapeno poppers. And then we had the Threes Volition beer. Threes Brewing Volition. Let's see. I got an 88 out of 100 score. It's a European dark lager. Not a very heavy ABV, but for like a work lunch, yeah, let's stick to the 4.5%. I wanted to say it's a stout, but I guess it's not a stout. It's a black lager. But yeah, I could have had a million of those. The guy asked me if I wanted another one, and it took all my willpower to say nay. So that was a nice little lunch. And then it was fun to work out after that on the Peloton. Yeah, it was like gurgle, gurgle, toil and tubble, boil and double, whatever the fucking witches say. All right, you know what? That's that. I think that's enough of that. Holy smokes. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your allegiance, your patronage, your loyalty. And I hope that I was able to bring you some sort of entertainment, enlightenment, enrichment. And we'll talk to you next time. Adios, chachos.